In this video, I'm going to share with you the most essential tools that you need as a real estate investor, as a real estate wholesaler, especially when starting out. And I'm going to break it down for you by niche, because the tools that you need are different depending on what your strategy is for finding deals. Now, there are some things that you need that are essential no matter what you're doing. I'll cover those first, then I'll get into the individual tools depending on what you're doing. The most important thing is always keeping in mind that less is better, because then otherwise you're going to be spending every single month money on tools where that money could be used for other things such as marketing. So there's three things that I think are essential. Number one is you need a phone. Now, by phone I mean you can go out and get a phone system. Like, for example, there's a service called Vumber, V-U-M-B-E-R. A variety, there's so many of them. At the end of the day, you could just use your cell phone to text message people individually, to call them on the phone. Some investors get a little bit finicky about that because they say, well, gee, I don't want somebody calling me on my phone, on my cell phone. That really just depends, because if you're doing any sort of cold calling, then maybe your cell phone is not the device for that, because of the fact that you're going to talk to people that really don't want to talk to you. But if you're doing any sort of inbound lead generation where people are raising their hands and they're reaching out to you, you can use the cell phone because it's not a combative conversation. So number one is the phone. Number two is a way to get a signature electronically. Sellers are used to this, everybody's used to it in terms of getting deals and transactions done virtually. The services that I would recommend on that would be DocuSign or HelloSign. I prefer HelloSign because HelloSign, the interface is a little bit easier to deal with. But it's just a way that if you're on the phone with a property owner and they agree on price and terms, and now you're ready to go ahead and send them to go ahead and get the deal signed, then the ability to be able to do that virtually is key. So again, a way of getting digital signatures. Second thing you need is a way to analyze properties. You can go a little bit on the cheap side here by, say, just using Zillow. If you're a really tight budget, you can use Zillow. And you could look at, hey, what Zillow is offering, and you can do some searches on Zillow, looking at sold properties, looking at actives, in order to make a determination in terms of what a property is worth. The next tool, if you do have some money to spend, would be getting access to flipanywheredata.com. You can go and go to that link. The link is in the description. That's a very robust system that allows you to pull property data, but also run comps and be able to analyze properties a lot more effectively than Zillow. Typically, it's about $100 a month. However, though, if you are on a tight budget, then you might as well go with Zillow, because at the end of the day, you want to save as much money as you can towards your marketing if you're going to do any sort of marketing. The next thing I think everybody should have is you should have a website. There's a link in the description for my recommended vendor for websites, because when you are talking with a property owner in the beginning, especially, you may feel a little bit less confidence than in terms of talking with sellers. You want to be able to have a website, so when you talk to a seller and you say, hey, this is Chris from Sell Your USA House Today or Sell Your Florida House Today.com, then it lends itself to credibility, because now they see that you have a website, and that's a good thing. So a website, I think, is one of those essential things that's almost like your business card that is going to help and increase your credibility and legitimately with the seller. So right now I listed 4 things that are essential no matter what you're doing. You need the phone system, you need a website, and you need a way to analyze properties, and you need a way to get electronic signatures. So those are the things that you need. Now, what you need next very much depends on your marketing strategy. So let's say that you are doing cold calling. So if you're doing cold calling, as an example, you're going to need a way to find a list of property owners. So you're going to have to pay for the list. You're going to need a way to skip trace that list. So you're going to have to pay for that. And then also you're going to need a dialer. A dialer can cost you anywhere between $150 to maybe $200 or $300 a month. Then you need the list. So all that starts to add up. But now you get into the individual tools required for whatever that marketing strategy is. So again, cold calling, you're going to need at least at bare minimum, you're going to need a dialer. You're going to need a way to buy list and a way to skip trace list. And skip tracing, by that I mean getting the phone numbers of other people so you can get a hold of them. I'm not covering SMS broadcast, and that is where you take a bunch of these people and then you just send them a bunch of text messages. There's a lot of things that are cracking down in the industry regarding that. They're really going to be severely limiting the amount of text you can send out on a daily basis. And so as a result, it's not a strategy that I'm even going to talk about, because even if you learn how to do that strategy, you're still facing an uphill battle. The next marketing strategy is direct mail. So if you're going after sellers with direct mail, you're going to need a list of people. So you can't get away from the list. Now, in direct mail, you don't have to skip trace the list. So at least you can avoid that. You're going to need to mail out postcards. Typically that's going to cost you somewhere between 36 to 40 cents a name, depending on who you source that with. The list is going to, depending, if you go to flipanywheredata.com, you can get the list included in your monthly membership. I think they give you about 10,000 records you can download, so that then allows you to get the list without having to pay for the individual names. With direct mail, you certainly need a phone number. The phone number that I've always used for direct mail is CallRail, callrail.com. And that is because if you do any sort of direct mail, you're going to have people calling you, and you want a way to have those phone calls come into a number that then could either ring to your personal device, or that can go to a 24-hour recorded message. But you're going to need a phone system in order to be able to do direct mail. And lastly but not least, if you're doing any sort of volume in direct mail, by volume meaning if you're just sending out 50 to 100 postcards, not a big deal. But if you're going to send out 500, 1,000 to 2,000 postcards, you need a way to manage all those incoming leads, especially if you're using the right direct mail. I'll put a link in the description for one of my postcards, but you need a CRM, a sales system that's going to bring those leads in through the phone system, and it's going to organize them, and it's going to allow you to get back to each of those individuals, because you want to get back to both the people that call and leave a message and the ones that hang up. And so I have a link in the description for my #1 recommendation for a CRM. That's going to cost you, depending on the CRM, anywhere from at a minimum $100 to likely about $200 per month. So as you can see with direct mail, the costs start to stack up. And with direct mail, you know, unless you're mailing out really realistically at least 1,000 to 2,000 postcards, then it's really not. It's going to be tough going. So direct mail requires more budget and more volume. So keep that in mind. Again, you need the list, you need the postcards, you need the phone system, and you need the CRM in order to do direct mail. Now, the next one on the list is one of the cheaper methods of getting leads, which is driving for dollars. And in the end, with driving for dollars, you don't need that much. That's one of the strategies that requires the least. Driving for dollars, you could just go around the different neighborhoods and look for properties that look like they need a lot of work, a lot of fixing up. Then what you're going to need to do is you need to skip trace those properties. By that meaning, get the phone numbers for those people so you can give them a call. There's an app that I have a link in the description that it's a driving for dollars app, that as you're driving by and then you see a property that, hey, looks like a good deal, or somebody that you want to reach out to, then what you can do is right on the app, you can click on the button, it'll identify the property, and then it'll allow you to get the phone number for that person, and then you can call them right from your cell phone. And typically, though, that's the easiest and least expensive method of going out and finding deals. So if you're in a situation where you really don't have that much money, then doing the driving for dollars is going to be key. The last one is going to be Facebook for motivated sellers. Facebook for motivated sellers is a paid strategy. So you're running ads in order to get people to raise their hands and to say, yes, I'm interested in selling my property. And then you're going ahead and reaching out to them. For Facebook, you're going to need a couple different tools. You're going to need a tool called Zapier, zapier.com, which is a way to get the leads coming in from Facebook into your email inbox or any other way. You can just download the leads or manually from Facebook when you're producing leads. However, though, now you have to continually check as the day goes on, and so you might miss a lead, and time is of the essence. And so for Facebook, you need Zapier. And then you also obviously need a marketing budget. My marketing budget that I recommend at a minimum for Facebook ads per month is $500. Better if it was about $1,000 per month in order for you to spend on Facebook ads. So again, as with all marketing strategies, the benefit is that it allows you to have incoming leads that have raised their hands and say, yes, I'm interested in selling my property, but you got to put money in the register in order to be able to make that strategy work. Keep in mind is that it's all an ROI game, meaning that if you spend $1,000 and you now make an assignment fee of $10,000, would you do that? Would you spend $1,000 to get $10,000 back? Yes, you would do that all day long. But with Facebook, you can get away with just a Zapier, have the leads come into your email, and then you just go ahead and give the people a call as they come in. Generally, you're only going to get 2 or 3 leads a day anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. If you wanted to, you can get a CRM so that you can automate the process and then have a way to organize the leads and send text messages and everything else. But however, if you're in a tight budget, I recommend you just keeping it simple. You can just kind of keep things coming into your email. You just call people, and you can even use Google Docs, Google Sheets, just to keep track of your leads. There's certain tools that are essential for your real estate business. You can't get away from. And then the rest of the tools really much depend on what marketing channel and what way you're going to be using in order to find deals. Keep in mind that it's always better to go low tech. It's always better, worst case scenario, use a yellow pad and a piece of paper and folders to organize things, if that's going to help you appropriate more money for the marketing. Because let's say, for example, that you're going to get a CRM and you get a phone number, a phone system, and you're going to get a bunch of things, and that's going to cost you $500 a month. At the end, that's money that could have gone to marketing to produce incoming leads. So that's probably the best advice I can give you, is minimize the tools, use that money for marketing, and in the end, put yourself in a position where now you have money coming in, you do deals, and at that point then now you can invest in the tools and the different marketing channels that can be more costly intensive. In my next video, I'm going to do a breakdown of 3 different ways that you can manage your leads. One of them is going to be really cheap. Another one is going to be also cheap, but a little bit more sophisticated. And finally, I'm going to show you how to also manage your leads using a more robust system. And that way you can kind of see what the options are and then decide, hey, what works best for you based on your budget and where you are in your real estate business. If you are interested in learning how to generate motivated sellers on Facebook, that way you can have warm sellers raising their hands saying, yes, I would like to talk to you. There's a video that'll pop up here or there somewhere. Click on that video, watch it, and it's going to blow your mind, and you're never going to do any cold calling or any of that hard stuff again. Check it out. I'm going to look at my notes, like it or not. What? Blow your mind. Blow your mind.